There's a strange psychological problem many people live with without even realizing it. And it appears in many small ways. You overthink criticism and you feel unusually good when someone praises you. And sometimes you get the quiet feeling that the life which you are living does not fully belong to you. You may be successful. You may appear confident. But internally, something feels quite unstable. And the reason is surprisingly simple. Most people never learn how to know about themselves. When that happens, something subtle begins to shape their entire life. They begin allowing the world to define who they really are. When we don't understand ourselves clearly, two very important things become unstable. Our sense of worth and our sense of judgment. Without a stable inner identity, we start depending on something far more dangerous: other people's opinion. Criticism suddenly feels extremely personal. It does not feel like feedback. It feels like a verdict about who we are. And praise can be just as powerful. Without strong internal compass, approval becomes addictive. And we start chasing applause instead of meaning. You might notice this in everyday life. Laughing at jokes you really don't find funny. Agreeing with opinions online simply because thousands of people like them. Or choosing a career which impresses others but quietly drains you. Without realizing it, we begin drifting with the winds of public opinion. You see, living without self-knowledge is little like sailing without a compass. Winds decide where you will go. Let me tell you something very important. No one is born knowing who they really are. Self-knowledge is something which we quietly learn over a period of time. And that process begins very early in life. When we are young, we discover ourselves through the way important people respond to us. A child cries, and a caring parent says, "That must have hurt." Or a child feels strangely unhappy on his or her own birthday, and someone gently says, "It's okay not to feel happy today." These moments may seem small, but they are incredibly important because they teach the child something fundamental: that their inner experience makes sense. Through hundreds of these small moments, child start to learn something very essential: what to feel, what matters to them, and how to interpret their own emotions. Later on, this becomes the foundation of their stable identity. But this process does not always go well. Sometimes parents might misunderstand the child. They might say, "Look how happy you are." But in reality, the child might be feeling upset. Over a period of time, child begin to doubt their own emotions. In some other cases, child is constantly criticized. And over a period of time, they begin to think that there's something wrong with them. And sometimes a deeper problem occurs. Child is not simply noticed very much. Their emotions are rarely explored, and their personalities are rarely reflected back to them. When this happens, adults later describe a very strange experience. Life feels slightly distant, as if they are quietly observing rather than living their lives. A quiet feeling of unreality. This is the consequence of emotional neglect. Try a small experiment for the moment. Think about last time someone criticized you. Did it simply felt like a feedback? Or did it felt like judgment on who we really are? Our reaction to this question will decide how stable our sense of identity actually is. You can explore this further with these 3 simple questions. What situation drains my energy the fastest? What kind of praise affects me the most? And what do I secretly enjoy, even when no one approves it? These questions will start pointing towards something very important: your authentic self. Encouraging news is that self-knowledge can still develop later in life. Often it begins when we finally encounter someone who truly sees us. This can be a thoughtful friend, a mentor, or even a therapist. Someone who listens carefully. Someone who reflects our thoughts and emotions with curiosity. Through this process, we slowly learn something which we were never taught. We start studying ourselves. We start noticing what we really like, what we really think, what we actually value, and what kind of life truly feels right to us. Gradually, our inner voice becomes stronger than the noise of crowd. We become less desperate for praise, less frightened of criticism, and far more capable of thinking independently. Because without stable inner identity, even success might feel strangely empty. When you truly begin to know yourself, something powerful changes. You stop constantly seeking permission from the world. You start saying no when something feels wrong. And you can choose directions others might not fully understand. But most important of them all, you stop treating yourself like a stranger. Instead, you begin developing most important relationship of your life. A respectful friendship with your mind. You see, goal of self-knowledge is not perfection. It's something much quieter. Learning the rare skill of understanding and befriending your mind. If you enjoy psychology, philosophy, and hidden patterns of human behavior, consider subscribing. There's more to come.